opportunity taken, and some with ease. But for GE, that was just the start of the series. Now they have to convert Fracture, their opponent's map pick, and you heard it from Owner. The boys were a bit nervous. It's a young team down on that stage, but we've seen these flip-flops from one-sided maps. Great success in the next. The defensive Fracture is where Leviathan will be tested.
I don't know what they expected coming in. I don't know if they expected a Pac-Man waylay, but I'm excited to see it. Never mind, it's gone. Immediately, Sato has picked him out of the sky. They're going to go running back, but they've been locked in. Spike Zine is watching from behind. Sato already with a much better start to this map than what we saw on the last. This attack side having to run all the way back, maybe trying to bait them into the hands of Autumn, who's just holding on to this space. Nothing being spotted, but that backstab would need to be incredibly impressive if it ends up as a backstab. Is he going to spot out that there's no one here and they're going to go back and plant on A?
I think that's exactly what was happening. They left him behind so he could hear the rotates if they started to flee the site. The spike will go back in that direction. This was what worked for GE on the last map. They were selling fakes so well,
Sato's
always
watching,
enticing Leviathan in. Crystal's chance to strike. He had such an impressive map previously. They'll at least get one out of this. Good stun to shut him down, but a plant and a 2v4, it's better than it looked like it would be.
It's still incredibly difficult. Lev decided to just group up, play it together. The stun catches Harvey, but he will be better. Will be good to go. As they look to try and round this corner, will they check these more deep angles? They will, and it's Sato once again. A great round from him individually, and now Autumn has to try and take over versus 4 players. Good flash! It caught almost everybody, but 13 health. Time ticking against him. And eventually he's going to need to swing out and get one of these kills. He gets absolutely nothing. A pistol round from Sato, even going to get the orb. And that will be Lev. 101.
Yeah, that will be Lev in the lead for the first time in this series. And what a way to do it as well for Sato, picking up a 4K focus there, very much on Patman, playing that waylay. A bit of a surprise element, certainly for 100%. Leviathan. But the waylay on the other side is the one opening up this map. A strong start to the defense for Leviathan. They get sold a fake, but react perfectly, punish on that side of the map. And the opening picks were sublime. Now, they get their reward. It's going to be a decent buy into this round. You know, for GE, win condition, or, well, not even win condition, but success condition, is just a couple of kills. It will make it somewhat costly for Leviathan if they can meet that goal. But as you can see, they're not very well armed.
I think the other side of it for GE is just orb collection.
Yeah, with a Phoenix always.
I'm going to try and get as many of them as you can. They were initially challenging for that A main control, but you can see the defenders are doing exactly the same thing. Be it to build up their own ultimates, with Sato only being one away after he claims this orb, or just to make sure, as you sort of said, don't allow that Phoenix to build up anywhere near as much. For now, though, tentative in their play. Everybody's gained at least a little, but the fights will seem quite one-sided when they come to blows.
Well, if you're at least trading out those orbs, finding them early, that's fine. GE, as you said, steps closer to the Phoenix ult, but this is where things should take a turn for the worse for GE. They've had good impact to start the round. They've got their orbs. They've even got a kill. The plant being attempted, but pushed back by salvos. Sight taken. It's definitely a bit spooky. But Leviathan have the upper hand in almost every fight. And now they've got the numbers.
Yeah, they cleared the top site, and then anybody trying to claim any weaponry is being picked off as they go. Another 1v4 being attempted, and it will not come through. A great start this time from Leviathan. And I think it is very important. Like, sure, it can happen. You're on your opponent's map choice, but we looked at this map of Fracture and went, this is not one of your greatest picks. It feels like you picked it as a counter to your opponents because they were not good on it either. But with the start that they've had, now we get into the main part of the match. The first purchase coming up for GE, and what will still be a pretty decent buy coming up for Leviathan, given the circumstances.
Well, yeah, 4 players carrying those weapons through. I think they only lost a Stinger. Gonna be pretty happy with that on the defensive side. Coming through with a convergence path as well with that strong start. Orb was given over to King, so obviously some value put towards that Rolling Thunder in the minds of Leviathan, and you can see early aggression is already lined up. They popped the flash, and that's not even going to deter them as the reveal went up behind it. Leviathan keep pushing. It's a full south side crunch to start the opening pick, and they get out scot-free. Crystal and hold the line on the other side, though. The Leviathan will be forced back in a 4v2. A nice attempt to make use of those weaker weapons, but GE seemed more than ready for that pressure.
It seemed like maybe they thought the convergence path had hit more people. I think it maybe only caught the one, or by the time they got there, it worn off, but it meant that there were spams going through those smokes, and GE, again, something they did well in the previous map was thrive under the pressure of what is an aggressive defense. Of course, this round expectation's still low. They didn't have the Vandals, they didn't have the Phantoms, no Operator just yet. The question becomes, how much damage can the remaining couple of players do? And I wonder if this will just become trying to catch them on the exit.
Yeah, that is probably where the most value sits. As time takes on, it becomes more apparent, and that is the play. Ollie towards main, I like this idea, keeping them locked in. Neon wants to make this as costly as possible, but as they run in through it, he gets a shot on them. And Crystal already falling. Decent bit of damage done. I think that is going to be where it ends. Holding on to the Guardian, I mean, obviously an option for King. But he's going to keep pushing to look for that extra kill, and in the end, well, I suppose he gets an orb.
Yeah, maybe having the additional value into his own ultimate versus the ones on the other side. I guess as well, when you look and there's already the Nightfall and the Run It Back online, you're gonna go, okay, it doesn't really matter if I go down. Patman's too far away. Yudatan is yet to get onto the board. So neither of those ultimates are particularly close. But this is where we see that first fall by. Can Leviathan start off strong as their opponents did on the last map? Or are GE gonna be climbing right back level again?
Keep in mind the Run It Back is online for GE, thanks to farming those orbs early on. Stun to slow them down. In fact, it's going to be a push out of Leviathan. Senos found himself.
Beautiful.
One, and the salvos are sublime. But Yudatan seems to be making a good dent in this defense. He's taking ground on the other side. He's taking kills, but blows answers even more. Javi alone with 3 to take down. He has at least got the spike, but he hasn't got a chance.
That was fantastic. These are the sort of rounds that make you really excited about a team like LEV. The credit obviously has to go to someone like Ono, where they've clearly just practiced these sort of plays. Even when the Nightfall goes through on the other side, they dive over the top of it, stun into the corner as well. Then the salvos come in. Like, that is timing of gods. Like, that's exactly what you want to see from them on this defensive side. This isn't a team that has just picked a weakness of an opponent. This is a team that has preparation in place. And that's always been where this squad has been the most exciting.
Now LEV looking much more comfortable, much more like themselves. In that previous round, especially considering that was the full buy, they had to run it back. It was a big danger for Leviathan to face off against, and they have dealt with it wonderfully. They were behind in the ult economy, but by the time the full buy comes up for GE, they should very much be catching up. And those dangers of the early half dealt with beautifully. Neon inside the smoke. He shouldn't be pushing just yet. Look at the south side of the map. So many players from the defensive side are flooding in through it, and they'll even have a chance to stop this spike plant if GE were to take, well, yeah, if they're to keep taking this long.
Maybe trying to bait players in.
Bait the salvos.
Instead, maybe planning a switch up through the spawn, but the problem is that flank has now come through. They're making the realization of, okay, we need to take some ground, and that forces their hand in towards King, who's just been waiting. That's what he's been doing the entirety of the round, just sitting there. And this is perfection from LEV. They slowly surround them. GE takes just that little bit too long to get the spike plant down. And they're going to come out of this one squeaky clean.
Yeah, I think that's something GE weren't expecting, to have such a heavy flank behind them that quickly. You can see they were trying to bait the salvos out, thinking that there would be a retake attempt from Leviathan from the spawn. And also, considering the round that just happened, they primed themselves for an attack, got dumpstered by utility ultimates and full-on aggression. Of course, they expected the faster retake, but delaying that time and running the clock down just allowed that flank to come all the way through. So far, it very much feels like the shoe on the other foot. In the last map, GE, they played the map better. But now, it's Leviathan's turn.
And into our coin-based win condition. I think the thing that we sort of talked about with this Leviathan squad is it's the team that has the setup versus the team that has the counter. It doesn't look right now like GE have the counter. They've swapped out their composition a lot. They've even put players onto uncharacteristic roles. Of course, Patman's normally someone that we see on like the initiator or controller. Like that's where he's been kind of flexing over the last few months. They put him into this, and so far it hasn't looked great, but I feel like that's because LEV have had a lot of really cool trap plays. And at least with against the low buy, they weren't taking too much in terms of risks. They were surrounding them, they were very patient, and it seems like even though maybe Mini doesn't like the Agent King is on, King's reads have been very, very good.
Absolutely. So far, GE being outclassed, the game plan's been working, but now they've taken a moment to chat with Frost, and it looked like he was in Rap God mode there. Certainly a lot of notes to hand out, but can they apply them? And they now start to chip away at that lead Leviathan have claimed. Their first time in the lead in the series, and they're not looking to let go of it.
Oh, early stun. They love this north side crunch, and they're doing it again from either side. Rolling Thunder even sent through in towards that spawn area. Spike Scene pushing down. You can see they're just trying to survive, and the salvos again are causing so many issues. Unaton just wants to hold on, and he's done very well. From that position, the issue though, is he was in control of the spike.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big problem. You take a look at Autumn right now towards the B site. Maybe he has a chance to run it back, but no one to defend him. It would likely be a death sentence. On Dish, well, you're going to have to walk into the op of Sato, which is not going to be a fun fight to take for anybody. The Cosmic Divide, this is where it starts. I do think we're going to see that run it back put into play, but they're already a man down, and in fact, no chance to pop that ult. Neon's ahead of the fight. And Javi might even be forced into a save at this point. The credit's not looking good across the board. Carrying this rifle forward isn't exactly going to help that much, but well, it's probably better than throwing it away.
Again, I have to just give plaudits over to Leviathan and their sort of crunch plays towards that north side of the map. It seems like even from the two players that were there, they knew it was coming. They knew that that would be a possibility. And I wonder if there will have to be the switch up from G to almost have a bit of pack mentality, or even just be patient a little bit further back in the first few seconds of the round. The problem though is you look at where those players died. They are so far into their own spawn area that you almost feel like, well, they were left with nowhere to stand, and it's those reactive salvos coming out from blows going like, okay, there's players here, we know where they are. Let's force them into awkward positions. Communication needing to be on point, but also just those set plays out from Lev working once again.
You know, one of the reasons that I was happy to see him try to save that in Javi's front was because they were one away from the orbital strike, but Neon's gone and found an orb in the meantime. There's plenty of them on offer here.
One enemy remaining.
And ends up orbital strike online for the next. This is a big advantage for Leviathan in scoreline and ult economy. And so far, it feels like they're miles ahead in terms of controlling the map. And even after the pause, nothing to write home about for G. The same problem there, the crunches from Leviathan working well. You said the north side crunch, it's where they've been more impressive, but they've been very proactive, even on that south side. Every round, it feels like they have space that they need to take a mission objective. And so far, G cannot deny those objectives. Yeah, Patman's gonna have to drop out of there.
That's only a small amount of damage.
It's teammate.
Thankfully, yeah.
Teammate Molly, so.
Teammate.
Spike planted.
Utility causing him a couple of issues. Of course, look at the weaponry, but
you want to play, let's
there
play.
It is. Tour de Force activated. They've realized that there is an opportunity for them to take this one away.
Oh my goodness, blink and you miss it. It's the Tour de Force with two, but the Pistols certainly not slacking in this round either, but another for Unitime to seal it in. A thrifty win for 5-2. That's not the round I thought GE would come out with.
Yeah, MasterCard Thrifty that will give them a huge boost. Because that was the thing. This was just one of those opportunities where you see that site almost gifted over to them. They managed to avoid a lot of that early aggression, and when they get into the post bar, you have Udaton with that free operator in hand. Those are the moments that we saw from him all the way through. The first map, a confidence booster. and seemingly part of the plan once again. But of course, the opponents are going to adapt to this. Early salvos, operator posted up. Even having some support in the close corner as well from Spikesy, and he can stun them if they get that little bit too close. But for now, not giving away their hand.
Yeah, when you've got Sato baiting like this, first shot fired, when he falls back, they should fill that space in quickly.
Going through
the smoke, though. That doesn't work for the bait play. Instead, Spikesy has to take the fight in the open. It's questionable. Maybe a little bit of impatience there for Leviathan, and well, the punish is massive, faking out that A side as well. This is what we said in the last map worked so often. They put pressure on one side of the map, enticed Leviathan in, and then took the open site. And it's just happened again. Even that molly, it's gonna come in too late. Neon's in a lot of trouble with so many players there to fight. You feel like he never stood a chance, but Blows steps right in for the same battle.
He's down to 45 health. And credits are also not in the greatest of positions, so with Neon not being able to find those picks, you have to try and give this one up. Look at resurgence from the side of G over the last couple of rounds. It was looking like, yeah, maybe we get the same as the last, where they just get blitzed out of the map, but Pause comes in. The operator as well for Yudotan has definitely been a difference maker, but also just pushing that South A side of the map has been far more victorious. And the risks being taken. You can understand it. They've been so confident in how they've played in the last few rounds. That's why Leviathan forced that issue, but then it really does put Spikesy in a spot where he kind of has to go ham there or they lose the round.
I don't even hate the walk through the smoke because he didn't know they were there, and what's been working for Leviathan, their win condition has been taking that space. As we said, start a round, they say, we're gonna fight here. And they fight for that control no matter what. So this time there's a bait, nobody steps into the bait, and eventually you'd think, okay, well, let's get our early flank going. And worst case, I pop one and get back out, but instead, the round crumbles as a result. And that's a good adaptation from G to play that much more patiently on this attack side, wait for Leviathan to make the mistake, because so far they have given you fights. This time G take them on favorable soil. It's again going to be this push.
He was blind.
Right into the operator.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got blinded there, or more, 2 players spotted. Are they going to opt to try and flee? No, they want to try and fight this. They get that opening. Yudotan has been sublime, by the way. I think that's the 3rd round in a row that he has found an easy pick. Oh, I say easy. He was full blind and just hit the shot, but
Nightfall.
Easy for him. Stun will force them back. Nightfall. And Patman has gone down in response. They have the ult ready to try and trap them, but they've avoided it.
Well, this is a much slower turn back to the other direction, though, from G. Might start to think that, yes, this worked before, right? Going to the A site. Look where the spike is. It might not be what's happening. But they've done this. They've faked one side, then pushed up the other. This time, Prowler goes towards A. Leviathan think that the play has switched up, but they find out that it hasn't. Now a man lowered down, and the Blaze covers across the site. Blows, though. A crucial kill up top. It's given them somewhere to fight from, but then the double to triple fake becomes the quadruple. They're back to the A
30
site.
seconds left.
I don't know how GE keep doing this, but the ruse is sold every time, no matter how many times they sell it.
And every time it feels like somebody is waiting for just an over-eager peek. Like, you can understand it. You're trying to figure out where they're going. You're trying to work out the position of these players, and every time you gamble, it's wrong. Yudotan is just there waiting. His 3rd operator pick, where somebody has just tried to jiggle the angle, and he hasn't been missing. 12 and 5, by the way, while they are currently still behind in the map. He's been a huge part of this turning around. And for Sato, no choice but to flee and try and save it. And I agree with you. I think that although we talk about the counters, we talk about those plays being made by G, I think Harvey needs to be given a lot of credit here, because I'm sure there's help from players feeding him information, but somebody is having in those mid-rounds to make those calls, and over the last couple of rounds, they have been correct.
He's often been the one walking into that empty space, and what's impressive about it is I can't really recall him getting punished for it that often. His success rate is huge, either in just avoiding the unfavorable fights.
There you go, full blind.
Space after. Yeah, that's certainly an unlucky start. if ever I've seen one, but from there, GE do remarkably well to pull this back together. And it makes me grateful that we changed our setups. Back in the old days, we used to have the coach on the stage as well. I think the only thing I'd hate more than playing against Frost's team would be having to look up and see Frost across the stage. Just that big smile on his face every time a round like that happens. And it's gotten a timeout from Leviathan. They felt these last couple of rounds were slipping back to Pearl, we're slipping back to GE, having a lot more control than we want them to.
Yeah, and it's difficult as well because, again, like talking of that Coinbase win condition, like they had it at the beginning of this map. They had those sort of aggressive set play rounds that were working out wonderfully. And I think in the last round, they were a little unlucky, or very unlucky. They have the same set play to try and go for that deep B presence, and you get domed by a full blinded guy who is just holding the angle with an operator. So it's a rough one to try and go out of a pause with, because you kind of sit there and go, well, was it the wrong play? No, not really. But Yudoton has been turning this game.
12-5. I mean, his impact has been tangible from the very get-go.
The second he got the op, that was it. That's where things turned around.
But I mean, even on the last map as well, like he's had some crazy rounds, but seeing him run away with it like this for Leviathan's got to be spooky. And that timeout, no doubt. Not necessarily about Yudoton, more about how he's given those opportunities to catch those rotates in the late round, how the map is being pushed and pulled out of their hands. This time, Leviathan start in the spawn. 3 players waiting there. So they can react quite quickly to this more direct play from GE.
Ali Molotov trying to clear some of those closer angles.
Oh my God, look at him, look at him.
Yeah, it's every round. The Harvey is just claiming space. The problem is they're already into the tower, but now realizing how far back they are playing, that Cosmic Divide is just a general irritation. They can get into a post plant. The backstab is going to be so far behind, by the way, so if they're too slow, Harvey might just kill all of them.
That's the plan. They haven't gone for these flanks before. Map control's always been punished by them going back in the other direction. The 1-for-1 trades, though, good to start. As now another goes their way. Leviathan pick up the pace towards the site, but a familiar foe. Crystal and Yudoton stand in the way. Now just the one. Yudoton's got the angle, but not the shot. Sato, the one with the pressure, though. He has to move to the site, has to start that defuse, swaps out for a rifle now in the ult. It's caught him, but he's actually out wide. Yudoton's dodged it. Now the time on his side as it keeps on ticking, and he'll take the kill as well. He's unstoppable.
I thought he had him. I'll be honest, I think that the choices made there by Sato were the right one. Avoid the fight, slow him down, you probably at least get it to half, buy yourself some extra time, and then maybe go in for the kill. Instead, Yudoton, balls of steel, just runs past the ultimate, and he knows he's hitting that shot. Why wouldn't he? Nobody's even close to him on the scoreboard right now. 5-5. From a massive deficit, GE have climbed back to potentially taking the lead, but they have finally killed their demon, and maybe they've angered Sato in the process.
The danger man is down. In fact, a few of them are. Patman and Javi, all that remains. What a great start for Leviathan. The lead may be back in their hands momentarily. And with it being only Sato that gets dropped for his trouble.
Doing a thing.
Leviathan play this nice and safe. Passive on B, ready to play the retake, knowing the numbers are by their side, and it means GE are the ones that have to take a risk. That risk means running into the numbers. Patman's dropped, and now his attempt to make this difficult situation that bit more manageable has left Javi in one that I think we all know the conclusion to. Leviathan have found their 6th and taken back the lead.
It's taken them a while to get there, but that
Don't
almost
leave him hanging. Come on. Come on. Come on now. You can't do this to him. Someone say something. Please.
Have we frozen in time?
Yeah!
There we go.
Let's go.
Maybe the loudest cheer of the day.
I think that one united the crowd.
What a round from Sato, though. That was one where it genuinely felt like they made him angry. Like it needed something to ignite them after 4 rounds lost in a row. But there's still plenty in the purchase. An operator handed over to Patman. Of course, they've got the credits to spend. The tour de force available for Yudotan as well. As if he wasn't already quick enough. This time, Sato has looked to try and claim B main control instead, on towards their south side.
This is it. What won them the last round was the opening shot from the off. The opening goes to GE. And it will be a battle between these two. I suppose it's fitting. B main control taken by Sato. But Yudotan walks up right behind him. And now it's a patience game, a waiting game. Perhaps the smoke up, though, allows Yudotan to close that distance that little bit further. And King with a
He's human
decision. That shot didn't land. Right past Sato, and now he knows exactly where to look.
Even still.
Spike planted.
Post plant available on Patman. Looking to try and get aggressive again at Sato to win the battle of those operator players. Give them that man advantage. Give them an opportunity to at least go in with a lead after the start they had, but Harvey's having none of it. Already clearing one, but he's stunned up. Trade immediately from Patman. As they look to walk in together, the shot's not quite landing though. Even still, it will come down to just one. Blow's making his way to the site, needs to bait someone into a fight, and Autumn just isn't giving anything away. He knows his teammate will swing first, and Patman still just sitting in the corner, will go down the spam, not quite landing. And Autumn knows he's got him dead to rights at this point. We will go in even at the half, 6-6.
Well, it's a nail-biter of a game, but Leviathan not out of the woods just yet. A solid half. Let's see if they can keep it up after the break.
I've got Elizabeth here. She is Patman's auntie. Elizabeth, you're the reason Patman's on that stage. You bought him his first PC.
Yes, yes.
So what's it like watching him do such an incredible job with his team? Because you've been there his entire gaming career.
I actually feel very teary-eyed, and I'm very proud to see him on stage, live and in person.
Is it quite nerve-wracking though?
Yes, but actually my heart rate is like 120 right now, watching him play.
But this man, he's been a world champion. But what's it like seeing him play with global esports?
Well, it's a new team for him, but I think he's done well making it to international again.
He definitely has. And actually, he does you proud in other ways. He's also been an incredible basketball player too.
Yes, he loves basketball.
So talk to me then about Patman settling into this team. What was your reaction when he told you he was joining global esports?
Well, all we can do is like support him, whatever he wanted to do. So when he told us that he's going to global esports, it's fine. It's just giving all the support that he needs.
Well, Elizabeth, I think you being here means so much to him. So thank you so much for talking to me. Good luck to global esports and Patman.
Well, it didn't look like they needed much luck in that first map, but this half a bit more of a challenge. Leviathan certainly woke up, but GE caught up in the end. We are neck and neck going into the next half, Tom. Where does your allegiance lie?
It's just difficult at this point. And I think the fact that we at least saw some life in Leviathan towards the end of the half was a good sign. I think Sato especially is going to be a huge talking point, as we know that setup is going to be around him and SpikeZine. The question, though, is going into the defense, can Yudotan keep it up? You'd expect that he's going to have the same opportunities, and with how aggressive this composition can be. But it is a lot to ask, because let's be real, they would not have 6 rounds on the board if he wasn't playing the way he is.
That is very true indeed. And has been a hero performance in the first half, but now we move to the second. They've had time to chat with their coaches, and we've certainly seen the coach waffling away. Round 13 kicks off with GE on the defensive side, and Leviathan, although they've cleared a lot of space towards B and then put a lot of numbers there, it will be the A site that is the ultimate target. The wrap back in comes in just as GE flee the B site and put numbers and boots back on the ground here. And then Leviathan go the other direction. Early on, you know, I'd even expect this to be about orbs, but they're not taking any yet.
Well, they're walking into the one man they were probably trying to avoid. Yudotan waiting patiently, it's immediate. Spike Zine is gone. Okay, they're gonna remove all of his utility, stun him. They're sending everything to try and clear this man out, and they will do so. Removed. Look at all the assists that came through onto Yudotan, the Batman. He's trying to be cheeky and he's caught for it. King trades him out. Advantage firmly garnered by King.
30 seconds left.
And now Crystal, 14 HP, 3 to find. All of them healthier than him, but that Sheriff is going to be deadly. Well, to almost everyone up until he hits that shot. In the end, it's Sato to close. Leviathan reclaim their lead with a pistol. Just look at Sato trying to hype up the crowd, hype out his team, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when you're having a game like him, you want to be the one trying to inject that energy into the rest, and no doubt King's feeling pretty happy after this pistol. A bit of a confidence builder for him and for Leviathan as they find their way back into the lead. Strange attack side there. It looked like they expected some aggression out of GE in that pistol, looking for it on B, going under, walking back to A main, clearing it out. But in the end, they found the easier site to push into and traded out those kills very nicely. 7-6, and a lead in the half should follow. Should get even stronger as they're now up against Classics.
Again, we're going to see the same from Global Esports. They want to try and get as many orbs for Autumn as possible. North side A taken, and on the other side of the map, they've just left Yudotan. He's already hearing the steps, he's already spotted the players. They're going to try and pincer on the remaining holding, but Neon and Sato have done a fantastic job. Now it leaves just one. Spike not going to be planted just yet. Counter flash will leave him completely blind, and in the end, it's actually the flank from Sato that clears him. Orbs collected for the duelist, a few for the other side, and the lead extended for Leviathan.
Yeah, nice work all around. Definitely seemed like a danger when Yudotan was under, heard 2 players go towards B, because the immediate call there is for those guys in A main to just run it down, start the early flank, take those fights, and they had the numbers, but they didn't have the weaponry. A big round from Sato as well to give them a 7, put him 17-8, now tied up with Yudotan on the scoreboard. But the rounds favoring Leviathan. That may change here, but it's a very strong bonus round for this attacking side. They've got a lot of rifles to work with. And of course, pack mentality prevails even with SMGs at times. Great pickup by Crystal, though.
And they're ready for the player to try and swing out through top. It's going to be Autumn taking the fight with his ultimate. They know how important keeping this round clean will be. With King, one of the weaker weapons. Unless blows can hit a wonderful timing, they're already going to be spotting him. He is currently completely isolated. In fact, every fight that would be taken by Leviathan here would be isolated, and for Yudotan, that might be the easiest kill he's had so far today. A flank, leaving it down to just one, and in the end, Global Esports will comfortably make it through that bonus.
Yeah, considering what they were up against, it's almost comfortably making it through a bye round. It's a very nice one from Global Esports. As we said, for Leviathan, on this attack side, pack mentality can work, but when you lose Spike Scene right away, and Sato coming up through heaven is caught like that, they have early flanks as well. It really exposes a lot of issues with that round, but it also gives you a lot to learn from. They made a more direct play, and GE very quickly closed the walls in on them. Be something they look to exploit, but for now, it looks like, again, pack mentality, 5 in dish, stun set up. We will have a pacey attempt. Whether this is for the orb, I'm not even sure, because with no presence elsewhere on the map, you almost have to play this as a straight-up hit.
Gonna force Harvey back, but it's the rest of the team are still here. There were 4 players on this A side of the map, and that's a problem. They go diving into a stacked-up site. The read again from GE is nigh on perfect. And for the remaining 2, they're trying their best to fight back into the round, but This was an early clear of the south side, and now they go running in towards Neon. Be careful. This guy has proven time and time again that on the skill scale, he's almost ticking off it. But a 1v5.
Got the spike.
I think you'd be crazy to believe.
Well, one down already. 2 away from an orbital strike. Big mistakes would be needed to even give him a chance. And you can see right away, look at Yudaton on the other side of the map. He's fallen back, he'll take an orb. And set himself up to just catch the info and TP right out. There is no escape for Neon at this stage. The only way is forward, and with 20 seconds left, if he doesn't decide to move, saving won't really be an option either. Yudaton has boxed him in complete. Well, okay, saving will be an option, but not what he's going for. That's 3 kills, 8 seconds left, needs to get the plant in. Okay, maybe waited a little too long to get that one going, but I'll be honest, I started to get nervous for a second there.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for having just sat in the site, I would have been sweating for them. But even still, it's a lot of damage, considering how clean everything was at the beginning. But this was also just pretty much setting up in that 1-4 for the side of GE. They had 3 players pushing that south side of the map, and when Harvey spots everything, and I think they put a Prowler all the way through in towards the spawn, they go, okay, well, there's no one on this south side. They have to be on the north, and everybody rotates in ready.
And also Yudaton is holding Northside Arcade, sees nothing. It becomes pretty obvious where they may be. The wall's closing in quicker than expected. On Leviathan in that previous round, they are denied any presence here towards A main by the Molly. And evidently, they don't want to fight into it afterwards. Again, they're on this low buy. The pack mentality's been adopted when it comes to the buy round, so you very much expect it to be the case here. And for GE, the information is in their hands. Nothing in A main, nothing north side. You know it's a B hit. You don't want to get too close to those pistols. You don't want to get overwhelmed by this push. Down below, a bit of an awkward battle. Oh,
okay.
That's fallen.
This now gets interesting, because a post-plant orbital strike is gone, because Neon's died. That is unfortunate timing. King's done well. His ult's only 1 away, but I don't want to even talk about ults, because the last time I did, somebody fell immediately. Weaponry retrieved by King, and okay, on the back of the side with a pistol. Now Sato has an ult of his own. It's not going to connect. Crystal waiting on the other side, and they are being picked apart, losing every single fight versus weaker weaponry. And for Yudaton, he wants to try and save this, but Spike Zine is chasing him down, looking to run after that operator, and he's got to be very careful here. There are multiple players trying to surround in onto him. They are baiting him in, and there will be a MasterCard Thrifty. He gets another round onto the board for LEV.
LEV right back in the lead and right back on their feet. That's what you like to see. A great round, and we complimented them on Pearl as well. With the low buys, they always have such a cool idea with it. This one starts full south side. They see the A main aggression. They're pushed back by it and say, okay, all eggs in one basket now. We know they're pushing there. Let's take the fight B main. And that happens to be the lighter side of the map. That happens to be where they can get in and get a plant. And that was already a success in my mind. You now have a plant that they have to push into you. You get a couple of kills, you make it costly, and maybe the butterfly effect comes in by the end of the map. But instead, Leviathan steal a round that they had no right even competing for. And that has gotten a timeout from GE.
Yeah, it's completely wrecked their economy. That was meant to be the round where they start building up those credits. And for the other side of things, you can see Sato. You kind of want to call him a superstar in the making because of how young he is, 19-year-old. I think he's just turned 19 as well. But it feels like he's already there. Like having those crazy high-impact rounds and then just being ready to scream, hype up his teammates, hype up the crowd. He has now overtaken Yudaton as the kill leader in this map, but he's had Neon alongside him. And I mentioned the potential for ultimates. They have a lot of them building up, but the one thing GE does have coming into this round is the ultimates already built.
Yeah, perhaps that can bridge the gap somewhat. Tour de force put into play right away, but Yudaton's walking into Sato and will be shut down. The big gun removed from the round right away. And now For GE, not much more hope remains. Anti-flash on the other side. Some players will be caught, but others won't. The stuns go in right away. Sure, they'll lose one.
Attacker spawn.
But how much more can GE hope for in a fight like that? The spike up for grabs if they could win it, and Patman's thinking about it. He's got a rifle, but the high-low setup on the other side could completely decimate any chance of finding the kill. And now almost every danger has been removed from that defensive arsenal.
He turned around.
Nice, okay.
Whew. For a second, it looked like that. Clearly, the spidey senses were tingling. Cool and controlled for Leviathan. Maybe there'll be one kill at least. There you go.
My ult is ready.
They now know where the last man is, and for Crystal, he's got the whole team facing off against him. Leviathan extend their lead once more, but this will be the round that the pause was called for.
Shoot the bad guys.
For Global Esports. We saw in the last half a fight back that brought them level. Of course, we know going into that third and final map, you kind of feel like a lot of those veto advantages start to fade away. I think many, including myself, once we saw Ascent banned out, thought maybe even the split would be picked by the side of Leviathan. So, although it may have started off as a bit of a shaky veto, if we go to map 3, I'd almost start to say they're favored again.
We've seen this approach from Leviathan on the defensive side. Now GE adopted 2 players left towards the spawn for that quick reaction, and the play coming towards B. The Rolling Thunder should completely stop them from having any say in this. Chance for the operator to maybe land one, but no, TP taken back, and now full control for Leviathan, you would think. Running back sent in, they get one off of it, and another onto Sato, and the numbers now sitting 5v3. They haven't even planted the spike yet on Leviathan, and they're being whittled down.
Go, go, go!
They're trying to create some space. Spike seems done well. He's denied.
Here.
Chance for a trade. The problem, though, is Yudatan again in a deep position. And now the spike dropped in a bit of an awkward spot. They need Spikesy to basically go back in. Can you do it again? Can you get us that space back once more? Can you cause that distraction? The answer is no. GE respond in turn. The back and forth of this map continues. And another purchase will be coming right back up.
Indeed, the fact they can just fight right back into this one means that the lead isn't stolen out of their hands just yet, but GE looking much more calm and comfortable in that. Yudatan again being set up for those op shots, and it feels like when he goes pushing in at the start of the round, Sato has his number. It's a lot of connections coming out of the waylay on Leviathan, but in those retakes, Yudatan's had so much value. Just got to keep him alive that long. It looks like GE want to re-aggress on they're hearing some noise in A main. Send Autumn there, flash through, seize the control. And as he falls back, they put Patman in to hold the line.
He's got to be careful. Just about makes it round the corner, but he's still here. I don't think that was the plan, but he's held the ground to an extent. In the meantime, the rest of the team on the attack go rotating to the other side. Deep control on the north side of the map from Global, and as you said, the Phoenix that was on the other side is now waiting for them on this one. Nice work from Sato once again. The orbital strike will deny them at least running all the way through, but Autumn already looking to try and flank back around through that north side, which they kept control of.
Flash gonna come out up top. It's devastating, but the shots don't land. Leviathan find everything, and now with 5v2, well, we said the ops being good on retakes, but he'd have to be great to stand even a chance. Patman by his side. Oh, isolated in the open, and it's an easy convert for Leviathan. 11-9 now.
Everyone having fun?
Just 2 away from closing out the map, bringing us to split. And as you said, Tom, that's where favor starts to flip a little bit.
Well, the thing is as well, you look at the role of Sato, and that role is meant to be a death sentence. That's meant to be, you dive in, you try and get a shot off, and then you retreat and somebody else takes the space. He's diving in, he gets the split second, is immediately hitting headshots, and comes out with 3 kills at the end of the round. He truly has been incredible in this map thus far. And him versus Yudatan has been a fun battle, but I'll be honest, he started to take over it. Patman, though, will finally shut this man down. That might be a good opportunity for them to find a response.
nice push up in A main. It looked like they'd take some blows for that, but it's well after the fight. By the time that anything's landed for Leviathan, 2 versus 4 needed. Sure, they've got ultis, but this isn't the round for them, surely. It looks like a write-off and stepping into the off, this time in the hands of Patman, but the result is no different. A body on the floor, and it's not a defender. Spike Zine, the last one standing, 4 players to take down. This would put Leviathan up to 12. It'd probably win them the map, but it's an impossible task. GE fight their way back to within punching distance.
Oh, good response, and a necessary one at that. Like I said, Sato was dominating a lot of these rounds, so to shut him down immediately. But then again, we talked about this a lot throughout the match so far. I love the calls from Harvey just to go, no, you know what? We've used the ultimate. Let's play through their utility. Let's get aggressive. Trap them in towards their spawn while they're isolated and not allow them to regroup in that scenario at all. A confidence-building round, but again, with how things have been going, both teams winning their rounds cleanly. The economy hasn't gone anywhere. Patman once again with that operator, but a flash should be coming through that wall before they pick. No, are they going to walk up on it? He's just going to look to stick around, and well, he's definitely been caught out early. It's actually Yudotan to go down instead.
That was all part of the plan. G sent 3 players to try to fight towards Arcade, but Leviathan had the whole squad come that way. Now being boxed in Arcade, you can see the jump peak from Javi that I don't think was spotted. Leviathan don't know the numbers they're facing, but now Patman under pressure has to move the Armageddon! But it's doomsday for Leviathan! What a response from Global Esports, neck and neck!
I'll be honest with you, some of the stuff that Patman is doing is making me so uncomfortable. Like, gets forced out by the ult, throws his stun, jumps back into the open, and while they're trying to swing in to catch him, Autumn just wrecks 2 players on the way into the site. It's a painful taste of defeat.
Watch me.
And while you're starting to see those credits dissipate for the attack inside, they might be left with nothing into the next round, but they're going to pick up the pace themselves, immediately throwing through the overdrive, and on the other side is caught, and in fact it spikes it, that ends up with the kill. Trades immediately back in response. It's chaos, but Sato again lands a shot, back to a 3v3 once more. As they grind to a halt for a second, both teams pausing to catch their breath. Patman's operator has been spotted. Yudotan, his position also seems known, and it's almost bait. They want them to swing, they want them to peek, to re-clear, to think that they've left, and they do.
Of course they do. They heard the door open. No contact for 30 seconds. This is where LEV clearly have gone back to that B side, but as we can see, that is not the case. And dangerous now if they're allowed to get this plant in. The stun could be back, the salvo online, it's a deadly duo. When it comes to, well, never mind if he puts it up top. Well, at least the plant found. Of course, they don't know just how open this site is. Noise made now. The rotates coming back in
30 seconds
from
left.
Global Esports, but they're not going to be here on time.
Spike planted.
Sato never let go of this position.
You are divided.
They'll have to.
He held his ground all the way through. The thing is, they can avoid his position, but can they avoid King? Holding within the sight and looks to just clean up everybody. Patman hunting for a rifle. He doesn't even know that he's still around this corner. Finds the info, but it's Sato to close once again. Leviathan continue to dig deep and are now 1 round away from taking us to map 3.
Well, Global Esports got past that first map easily. Barely broke a sweat.
1 enemy remaining.
We said they would be tested when it came to Fracture with Leviathan, just up to difficulty 12 on the board. It's either overtime or victory and map 3. And Leviathan again adopt the death ball. They went to the B site with this and were met by numbers. There were 3 players there when they didn't expect it. Now the death ball's on A. There's 3 players here. GE, numbers in the right spot, and Patman's feeling greedy. Gets in, he can always get out. Well, for the next second or so he can, and now he stuck around a little too long. Leviathan punish immediately, and the pace should be picked up to this A site if it is. Crystal's the one with the challenge, the man who top fragged the last map, put on a A brave face in so many bad situations, but this way too much to ask. Leviathan are hungry for a third map. Their order's almost ready. Unicorn! The human missile hits his mark. And now, just 2 left to lock in an overtime. But it's Javi who has to find both.
Tan gave them a chance. Tried to close it alone and leaves his leader to try and fight versus 2. Neon on King on the other side, but the problem is he has to make noise. He has to give the game away. Tries to bait the fact that he's already dropped down.
Off your feet!
But they will now know, and the Rolling Thunder is going to force him all the way back. That time ticking further and further. The map 3 looking inevitable as Leviathan will hold their ground. Map 3 on the horizon. Don't go anywhere.
I am not